4.5 hours southwest of Albuquerque, tucked in the Gila National Forest, is the town of Mogollon. This town's rich mining history goes back to when Sergeant James Cooney from Fort Bayard first discovered deposits of silver and gold here. Plenty of prospectors followed in Cooney's footsteps, and a mining camp was established along the same road travelers experience today. But this flood of hungry prospectors would not be the only flood experienced here in Silver Creek Canyon. Devastated by several fires and floods over the years, the town's existence is a testament to the hardy nature of its inhabitants. Case in point, Stan King, who runs the Silver Creek Inn where I am staying.
At the turn of the century, 1900, this building was pretty much the town hall. People came here in groups to talk about stuff because it was not a bar, it was a mercantile store with rooms upstairs. It was a boarding house. People from the outside came to stay here. People from New York would come here. And other people, other business people in the town of Mogollon would come here to meet with them.
Given its location as you enter town, this building still draws many people today, whether you're lodging here or not.
One of the beauties of it, I tell our guests, is running this inn is like hitchhiking and not going anywhere.
Right. You got to be planted somewhere. But
you're planted, it's the same as hitchhiking. You never know who's going to come in. It's like you never know who that guy in that car is going to be, but there it is. You know, you put yourself on the road and you are open to whatever.
I love on the door it says no reservations required. You don't see that in many places at all. Come on in, even if you haven't called. We probably have a door open for you.
Yeah, we'll find room somewhere.
For the average traveler to come across a town like Mogollon, this little enclave in a canyon, what do you think is the draw?
Well, there is a draw, but you know, it's not well publicized. In a way, that's a good thing. This town population when I first moved here was 12. And the town population today is 12. There's no convenience stores and there's no gas stations, which is fine.
Right.
I think travelers, there's quite a bit of interest for the cowboy way of life, and I think that still has a certain draw to some people. If they happen to do the research and investigate, they're going to wind up in Catron County because this is still the last stronghold of the cowboys. I mean, this is cowboy country. We call it the Southwest of the Southwest.
While some people romanticize Mogollon as a ghost town, the fact is, the town is very much alive, exemplified by its many restored buildings, one of these being the museum, where I had to get better acquainted with its past.
This town started in 1876 and ran to 1942. There was approximately 8,000 people that lived here during the heyday. People were mostly miners in this area, but some ranchers and farmers. But the Fanny mine is the largest mine up here. There's 7 or 8 other mines almost the same size. There is over 600 miles of tunnel here in the Cooney district.
And what were they mining?
This was silver and gold, mostly silver. Okay. They were producing approximately 75% of New Mexico's precious metals at that time. And during the heyday, by the end of the first year, they were reaching $1 million in payroll.
At that time.
That's a
lot of money.
A lot of money.
And I'm looking at some of these pictures, you see these big bars of gold and silver.
Yes.
Like how heavy were they really?
Those were 100-pound bars, and they were worth $1,000 to $1,200 each. And as they brought them into town from the mines, they would stack them up on the boardwalks out front.
And that was safe?
That was safe because they figured no man's going to run with a 100-pound bar of gold or silver without getting a bullet.
Right, that's true. So obviously with that being said, there was a lot of action and activity going on in town during that time then?
Absolutely. There were freighters, there were Indians still in the area, so there were a lot of sieges going on. Families mainly moved in about 1915. And so at that time they were starting up the old theater and the churches, the schools, where before that it was predominantly single men. And a lot of tent houses, a lot of 2-story Victorian homes, cave dwellers.
Wow.
A lot of the canyons are filled with caves that were rocked up fronts. And
what's that little cave thing you got in the back?
These are actually cold storage cellars. There was a gentleman that lived about 8 miles above the town. His name was Ice King, and his main job in the winter was to hand saw block ice out of the creek. And he would bring it down on his buckboard and pack it into these caves all through town behind the buildings. And that would be their summer storage for their food.
That would last?
Most of the summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who needs a refrigerator?
Exactly.
We need to bring that back. That's so cool.
Yep.
And it's still, when you walk back there, it's still cool.
It's still cool.
Man.
And we don't need air conditioning in the building.
Old technology.
Is always better.
Examples of some of this technology and countless other relics from Mogollon's history are housed in the museum, and Katie has a story to go along with just about every one of them. But now that I'm equipped with an in-depth knowledge of the people who lived here before, I feel free to roam the town and explore the businesses that have set up shop and are operating today. The Old Kelly store, doubling as a visitor center, houses incredible art pieces, jewelry and body products, clothes, and a mineral room in the back that will blow your mind. And conveniently enough, it's right across the street from the Purple Onion, famous for its green chili cheeseburger. And one of the best things about Mogollon is it sits in the heart of the Gila, so make sure you take the time to explore the surrounding forest and take a hike up to the old Mogollon Cemetery.